Okay. Rosemary and Jade are having a steel cage match for the Knockouts title next week. James Storm just pinned Jeff Hardy. And now here's the show where we ignore all those things and talk about geek stuff. Starting a few minutes late tonight. I'm sorry for that. I was having a few issues getting the stream to work. Actually, the problem was the stream was working fine, but I was on the wrong account. So I forgot to switch over to the backup channel. So that was the problem. So, oh well. No harm, no foul, as they say. So let's get started. And did I just lose the damn stream already? No, there it goes. Okay. Okay, we got Flash and we got Arrow tonight. As usual, spoiler warning is in effect. If you know what happens in future episodes, please don't post them in the chat room for people who don't like to be spoiled. Also, let's try to stay on topic. Once again, we go one show at a time here, so when I'm talking about Flash, don't ask me about Arrow and vice versa. We go first Flash, then Arrow, try to stay on topic, and then afterward we can talk about whatever you want. So, let's get this show a-rolling. Starting with, as usual, Flash, Season 3, Episode 6, Shade. Caitlin finally tells someone about her powers, and instead of it being a better late than never moment, it just creates a whole mess of questions. The Shade shows up, and is defeated pathetically easily, which bummed me out. And Wally is having life-threatening dreams about being Kid Flash in Flashpoint, and decides to lead the team to Dr. Alchemy, which results in Wally undergoing Terrigenesis or something. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. Where the fuck do I even begin with this episode? Oh my god. I don't know. Let's just start the list of unbelievably stupid shit that happened this week and see where we end up. Because I'm not sure how else to do this one. First of all, wow, HR decides that he wants to leave the lab and do stuff in public. Okay? Like they're like the team, they're all going to the Shining in the park. The special showing of a movie. He wants to go, and only now do Cisco and Caitlin get around to telling him that he can't do this because Earth 1 Harrison Wells is A, an admitted murderer, and B, dead. Which naturally would be a problem if he wants to go outside and be seen by people. But the thing is, I seem to recall a scene in the last episode, or maybe it was the one before it, who the hell cares, where HR went out for coffee or something. He left the lab and went out for coffee or something. And nobody thought to mention this to him then? Why didn't they tell him then? He goes out for coffee and him being seen in public wasn't a fucking issue, but now all of a sudden it is? Why? Did they just forget to tell him? Are these characters that fucking stupid? Or are the writers of this show just incompetent fucking dumbasses? Which one is it, Flash? Because it has to be one or the other. Or, possibly both. I'm leaning towards both, actually. Next, Caitlin finally tells Cisco about her powers. Well, thank the great good Lord, it took you long enough. And she does at least offer up some kind of explanation for why she didn't tell everyone sooner. Okay, she has trouble asking for help because of the way she was brought up by her mom. Okay, I can accept that, I guess. It's not a great explanation, but I'll take it. But it turns stupid almost immediately. Alright, Caitlin reveals that she's been wearing these power-dampening handcuffs that Cisco made, and I can't even imagine the amount of plot holes those things are going to create. And she asks him to vibe her to see if she turns evil. Which he does, and he sees that she does in fact turn evil. Then, instead of telling her the truth, so they can prepare for this and take steps to prevent Caitlin from becoming evil, Cisco tells her that he didn't see anything. So she takes off, unaware of the danger she might soon be to herself and to others, and she leaves the power-dampening cuffs there. Cisco doesn't even advise her to wear them as a precaution. Although later she's wearing them again anyway, so I'm not sure what happened there. But can you guess what he did wrong? Why on God's green earth would he keep this information to himself? Just not telling her and just hoping the problem goes away is a really bad idea. For fuck's sake, Cisco is usually smart about this type of stuff, isn't he? Oh, except, no, maybe not. No, because last season he kept his own powers a secret for no fucking reason at all. Never mind. I retract that. I retract my question. The funny thing is about this, that after finding out that one of his closest friends might soon become a supervillain that tries to kill him, Cisco he decides to not immediately tell the rest of the team, not to do anything to try to help his friend, and instead he goes to the movies, being all carefree and shit. Caitlin actually has to confront him about lying to her before he tells her the truth. Again, what did he hope to accomplish by doing this? And then it gets even stupider, because now, suddenly, Cisco wants to help. Alright, except, for some insane reason, Caitlin is insisting that there's nothing he can do. Now that he's not ignoring the problem, now that he actually wants to help, she's suddenly insisting that there's nothing he can do. So, it's like she goes to him for help, and then when he tries to help, she tells him he can't help. The thing is, she doesn't even need his help. Hey, Caitlin, why don't you just continue wearing the power-dampening handcuffs? Problem solved! If you're scared that your powers are turning you evil, why not just wear the damn power-dampening handcuffs all the time? Okay, sure, they might be annoying to wear 24/7, but they work! Now, what the fuck is going on here? Literally, the second Caitlin finds out that she might become a supervillain, the very thing that can easily stop this from happening is suddenly not an option? Why? It makes no sense, especially when she's wearing them anyway later in the episode. And speaking of things that make no fucking sense, why is Caitlin turning evil? I'm serious. Think about this for a minute. There is zero explanation for this. Just, she has powers now, so she becomes evil. Just like that. If it was because of Dr. Alchemy's influence, because of him doing something to her, maybe I could sort of buy it. Because Alchemy did cause Wally to become really irrational there for a minute. So you could argue, okay, maybe he's influencing her mentally somehow, but that's not it. Alchemy hasn't come anywhere near Caitlin, and she didn't seem to have powers or be evil in the Flashpoint universe either. So what the fuck? Why is this happening? I have no idea. All I do know is that instead of Caitlin becoming a villain because of organic character development, it's happening because magic. Because these dipshit writers apparently think that doing Flashpoint gives them carte blanche to just hit the reset button and change anything they want to change, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. This just does not make any sense. I've actually thought about this quite a lot, and I don't see any way that Flashpoint could have caused this. It really doesn't make any sense at all. She gets powers, and then suddenly she just turns evil? Can you explain more, show? I, not that any of this really matters. Anyway, because the writers are obviously treating the Flashpoint thing the same way they treat time travel. The same way they treat, how time travel works on this show. The rules only apply when they want them to, and they outright change or break the rules whenever the fuck they feel like it because they're lazy and sloppy and, quite frankly, not very good writers. Alright, and then there's the Wally thing. Alright, he's having dreams about being Kid Flash and Flashpoint, so they decide to put him in one of those metahuman cells just as a precaution. Because, the other people who got powers because of the Flashpoint thing, the rival and what was her name? Magenta, I think. They got kind of weird. They went nuts. Or maybe they were already nuts. I don't know. But they got powers and they did bad things. That's the point. And, considering what happened to those people, because they had powers in Flashpoint, locking Wally up, it's actually a good idea. Just to be on the safe side, But for fuck's sake, right now, they have no concrete reason to suspect that Wally might turn evil. They have suspicions, but nothing they can really bank on. And yet, he's the one they locked up as a precaution, while the woman who Cisco vibed and knows for a fact will turn evil and try to kill him in the future unless they do something to help her is the one walking around free. At the very least, Cisco does eventually decide to do the same thing and reveal Caitlyn's secret to the team. But why the fuck he wasn't doing a damn thing to help her in the meantime, I have no clue. Alright, now Caitlyn's reaction to Cisco her reaction to Cisco outing her felt real enough. Okay, she's upset that it wasn't his secret to tell. Okay, fine. But then she's upset because she's the one who's turning evil and will have to leave soon. She thinks she has to go far away and never come back. Okay, once again, why the fuck is she turning evil? And what's more, why does she have to leave? Okay, her and Wally are in the same boat here. For the most part. But no one is suggesting that Wally has to leave. I mean, Jesus Christ, they started jumping through all these hoops to help Wally the second it was even a possibility that he might develop superpowers, and the option of him just taking off for parts unknown was never even brought up. But when Caitlyn actually does develop powers, they can't do any of this shit for her? Why not? Why can't they put her in the metahuman cell, for precautionary measures like they did with Wally? Or, here's a novel concept that no one bothered to bring up. If using her powers is turning her evil, why doesn't she just, not use her powers? This was pretty infuriating, to be honest. Because literally, the bare, minimal application of simple common sense would solve every single goddamn problem with this situation. But they can't even bring themselves to do that much because they're fucking stupid. I was genuinely interested in this storyline at first. I was excited for the Caitlyn character to get something like this to play around with. But my god, did they fuck this up. It would almost be funny how inept these writers are handling this if it wasn't so pathetic. They're approaching Legends of Tomorrow levels of stupidity here. And believe me, that is not a claim I make lightly. But here we are. And as the cherry on the cake, they did a piss-poor job with the Shade. Dude, this is actually a really cool character from the comics. I don't even read the comics and I'm a fan of the character. He was a guy, a villain, that I was always a fan of when he showed up on the Justice League animated series back in the day, and they turned him into some 2-minute jobber who gets beaten so easily it's almost sad when he randomly attacks some public gathering while cosplaying as the smoke monster from Lost for no other reason than they needed a C-plot to fill out the episode's runtime. Fuck you. And you know what the ironic thing is? The Wally storyline in this episode was actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, this whole thing about him being desperate to get superpowers came right the fuck out of nowhere, and believe me, they're not getting a pass on that. But this was handled in a way that actually resembled competence. Okay, Wally thinks he's having these dreams, he thinks he might be getting powers. Joe is afraid for him because the other metas who got powers from Flashpoint went nuts, so it's not kept a secret. They run tests on him. They take logical precautions. Alchemy still gets to him anyway. Wally wants to help by using this to lead them to alchemy. Initially they refuse, and it's only after his life is put in danger that they decide to risk using him as bait to get to alchemy because he might die if they don't get to the bottom of this and fast. So they try to lure alchemy into a trap. It's not a great trap, and they wait way too long to spring it, but he falls for it regardless, so whatever. And Barry doesn't even fuck things up by trying to talk to alchemy this time. He actually tries to take alchemy out right from the start, like a competent superhero would do. But alchemy surprises him, which leads to bad shit happening. So, in this situation, you could argue that the heroes did everything right, and shit still went bad. On a well-written show, this would be the norm. Because it's not necessary for you to have your heroes constantly making the worst possible decisions just to advance the plot. They can do the right things, they can make smart decisions, and have things still turn out badly. Unfortunately, this is the exception that proves the rule on this show. But now it looks like that Wally may get powers after all the stuff they did to try to prevent this, which is the exact thing that Joe and Barry were trying to prevent the whole time. Not because the good guys were acting like idiots in this case, but because the villain was just an effective villain who had a few tricks up his sleeve. And also because that Savitar dude showed up. I don't know who he is. But holy shit. Another speedster? Another speedster. How many of these fuckers are there? My God. Why do they keep going back to this? I don't know. But yeah, for the most part, the Wally storyline in this episode, as well as that final scene, worked nicely. It wasn't enough to save the episode or anything, but it was pretty much the only redeeming quality about it. And just for the record, before they go off to try to capture alchemy, they make a point to mention that they don't know where Julian is. I hope they have something more creative in mind than having Julian turn out to be alchemy or Savitar, because having either of them be literally the most obvious character they could possibly be would not be a very interesting way to go. Just saying. Final thoughts on this episode. The Wally subplot was refreshingly decent, and everything else sucked. That about sums it up. I will give it to Wally. Someone finally calling Barry out on his screw-ups was fun. Well, it's not exactly what he did. I think he did call out everybody on them always kissing Barry's ass. And, treating him with kind of a double standard. Which, I'll give Wally kudos for that. Because, anyone who doesn't kiss Barry's ass, I'm probably going to like that character. I don't see why Alchemy would want to give Wally his powers back. Wouldn't that just give Barry an ally to stop him? You'd think so. I'm going to give him a pass on that for now because we don't really know what Alchemy's motives are. Maybe he might have a way of controlling Wally once he does get powers. We really don't know yet. But that is a good point. I hate Barry, and Flash is definitely getting boring. Welcome to the club. I've hated Barry since season 1. And Flash definitely getting boring. Well, the constant fucking speedsters showing up is definitely getting old. I really miss Earth 2 Harrison Wells. Me too. Bring him back. And bring Jesse back too while you're at it. I like Jesse. How does anyone trust Barry anymore? Joe said he trusts Barry with his powers, but he's constantly messing the timeline up. Well, he messed up the timeline once, but he's constantly messing things up in the present. Yeah. I'm tired of speedsters. This is getting old. Yes, it is. I think Killer Frost is something that destroys the mind so Caitlin can't help but go evil. I just hope they don't kill her off. That would be the final nail in the coffin to me. If there's something unique about Caitlyn's powers that makes her mentally unbalanced, if they find a logical explanation for it, I would be willing to accept that. Like somehow like the freezing powers causes some kind of mental instability or some kind of chemical imbalance um, that changes the way she thinks and perceives things. I could accept that. I think it's a cheap cop out, but I could accept it. I think if they were going to go down the Killer Frost route, the way to do it would have been to just organically develop Caitlyn from a person who's on the good guy's side, who has good intentions, who is a well-meaning person, who's trying to be a good person, but just has some issues, has some personal demons, and then over time, those personal demons just gradually start to get the better of her, and she can't overcome them, and eventually becomes a villain, not because powers just magically made her a villain over the course of like 2 episodes, but because she chooses to be a villain. I think that would have been the way to do it. That would have been organic and would have required good, competent writing. But no, they just want to just kind of hit the fast forward button and not really bother with all that and just get to her being a villain because powers turned her evil, just like that, when they haven't affected anybody else like that. It's just really cheap and sloppy, and I don't like it. What do you think of the Heroes versus Aliens promos we've gotten so far? I think they're kind of corny. I'm not sure how them fighting aliens ties into the stories of any of the shows that are going on. I think it feels like kind of like a paper thin excuse to just get all the heroes in the same place and do a team up episode. Now, granted, I'm not watching Supergirl. I'm not watching Legends of Tomorrow. So maybe they're fighting aliens on those shows. I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's okay. We want to. It's like we want to get all the heroes in the same place and do like a cross promotional team up episode across all 4 shows. How do we do that? Oh, we'll do an alien invasion. Yeah, that'll work. So I guess the storylines of all these serialized shows are just going to get put on hold for the week so they can expend 4 episodes fighting aliens. It feels cheap to me. You know, it would have been nice if they could find a way to weave this team up into the storylines of all the shows that are going on right now, so it feels organic. But no. Oliver he's going to stop looking for Prometheus, and I guess Barry is going to stop trying to figure out how to help Wally, stop trying to figure out how to help Caitlin, stop trying to figure out who Dr. Alchemy is, and they're just going to go off and fight aliens for a week. Because how else are we going to do a team up, right? Feels kind of cheesy and lame to me, if I'm being honest. I may be in the minority on that, but whatever. I guess the Flash stole Terrigenesis from Data West. Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. Let's see. I was also disappointed in how they made Shade look. I was wondering why they didn't go for the Justice League cartoon look as well. Yeah, he was so cool on that show too. They just made him a big like CG cartoon thing. All right, it worked with Grodd, it worked with King Shark, but that's that's pretty much how Grodd looked in the comics. I don't know about King Shark, but Shade is not like that. He's not some big CG cloud. He, that annoyed me. So just me, or is Alchemy like a Darth Sidious type of character trying to find an apprentice? Possibly. It looked like there were some people with him in that underground thing place that he was in. I guess they're trying to play him up as some kind of cult leader or something, which I guess is kind of like the Sith. I guess there are some similarities there. Anywho, moving on to Arrow. Let's see. All right, Arrow, Season 5, Episode 7, Vigilante. There's some new crime fighter who's been taking out bad guys in the city, which really bugs Team Arrow because they're the ones who are supposed to be doing the cops' jobs for them, damn it. So they try to catch this guy with limited results. Meanwhile, Quentin comes clean to Thea about finding that shuriken in his apartment, and Thea seems to think that he needs rehab more than protection since someone is trying to make it look like he's Prometheus. Speaking of Prometheus, it turns out Artemis is working with him. So there's that. Something funny I noticed about this episode. How does Team Arrow keep getting to these robberies in progress way ahead of the police? It's like Felicity detects like a bank alarm or something, and then the team has time to suit up and get to the place, and they get there way ahead of the cops, who would have been en route immediately. I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, outside of the twist with Artemis at the end, this was a pretty low-key episode. That doesn't mean it's not good. It was pretty light on action, but there was a lot of character stuff that I appreciated. The Dig subplot about him being pissed that he couldn't be at John Jr.'s birthday party didn't feel entirely necessary, but it did serve to remind us that Dig is a wanted fugitive who has to stay out of the public eye since they haven't done anything with that yet. More importantly, it continued down the route of making Renee a more likable character, and I'm all for that. Also, the Quentin stuff was very affecting. I very much appreciated that after Quentin found the shuriken in his apartment, he immediately resigns as deputy mayor and comes clean about what the problem is. Either he's being manipulated or someone is using him or setting him up for something. One way or another, he's a big flight risk right now, so he's trying to keep himself away from the mayor's office as a way to protect Oliver and Thea. So Quentin is actually doing the smart, reasonable, responsible thing. As opposed to Caitlin, over on The Flash, who has powers that are turning her evil and chooses not to tell anyone about it for months. Or Team Flash in general, who decide to not take any precautionary measures to help Caitlin, like locking her in one of the metahuman cells so she doesn't become a danger to herself or others, just like they did with Wally in the same fucking episode for exactly the same reason. Don't get me started again. But yeah, here we have Quentin, the off-the-wagon alcoholic, making more responsible decisions than the entire cast of The Flash. Imagine that. And while putting Quentin in rehab, obviously is not going to do anything to solve the problem of, someone setting him up or manipulating him, it is definitely something he needs right now, regardless. And that was a really good scene, too. Paul Blackthorne tends to be pretty reliable whenever he's called upon to break the viewers' hearts when Quentin's life turns to shit. Which seems to happen to him a lot. And he did it again here. I felt really bad for the guy. And hell, I mean, considering that his 2 kids have died on him no less than 3 times, it's a wonder he's not more screwed up than he is. Maybe it is about time this poor bastard got some help. Speaking of which, I know Sarah's busy being a professional shit stirrer across time and space these days, but can we get her to visit her dad for God's sake? I mean, the guy is unraveling here. I mean, a visit from his still living daughter might do him some good. But the A plot is about the team trying to catch Vigilante, which is, I guess that's what we're calling him for now. I didn't really see what the big deal was at first, since he was only going after bad people, which is it's not that different from season 1 Oliver, really. But then he gets some innocent people killed while going after this Dunn guy, and he writes that off as collateral damage. So okay, now they've got a reason to take him down. Now he's someone dangerous. Now he's somebody reckless and not concerned with the safety of innocence. He's just concerned with his own agenda. All right. And while I did get a little impatient when the situation made Oliver question if he's doing any good out there, because Lord knows we've been through that before, at least it was a little different, because in this case it's a question of whether the justice system is effective. Although that was examined a hell of a lot better in Daredevil Season 2. But I liked that he got advice from Reporter Lady. I liked their conversation at the bar. There seems to be a genuine chemistry there between these two. And it's thus far completely free of baggage, which makes me want to root for these two to hook up. Hopefully soon, because Reporter Lady is looking for information about Oliver's connection to the Bratva, so the clock's ticking on that. And I'm crossing my fingers that this won't fuck things up, because I kind of like these two together. And then there's the Artemis twist. She's working with Prometheus, huh? Okay. Big twist. Didn't see that coming. I'm not gonna lie. This bugged me at first. At first, I was thinking, why did they make her evil? Do we have to wait until Young Justice Season 3 for someone to have a good take on Artemis? I mean, first they introduce her in the comics and then kill her off immediately, and now this. But then I thought back to Young Justice, and I remembered that, oh wait, Artemis had ties to villains in that show too. Okay then, proceed. Sure, having a traitor on the team is kind of the same thing as what they did with Andy last season, but, what the hell? As someone pointed out to me on Twitter, this has some similarities to a Teen Titans story called The Judas Contract, which I haven't read, but according to Linkara was really, really good. So, alright, let's give it a shot. This was a good episode. Not a lot of action, but it showed that the writing and the characters are good enough to keep the quality high without a lot of action. So that's definitely a plus. Some good character stuff, cool plot twist at the end. Pretty nice episode of Arrow here this week. Okay. Is it just me, or are Thea and Lance giving out romantic vibes? That's awkward. I think it's just you, buddy. I could see them developing a surrogate father, surrogate daughter type of relationship. But romantic, no, I think it's just you. My guess is Vigilante is Felicity's new boyfriend. It would fit her pattern of dating first Oliver, then Barry, then Ray, and now Malone. I'm really hoping, actually, that Vigilante just turns out to be some character we haven't met yet. Because I've kind of gotten conditioned to think that, like, the villain is just going to turn out to be this other character that they've introduced in the background, like the supporting character. Oh, is it going to be the DA, or is it going to be Felicity's boyfriend? Does it have to be either of them? Can it be someone else? Because I'm kind of conditioned to suspect these guys, but to suspect these guys of being evil now, Suppose it could be. So it could be the boyfriend. I think they were sort of hinting that it's the DA right now, but I think it's still up in the air. Vigilante is Adrian Brody, the district attorney. Adrian Brody? That's someone else. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, pretty sure the vigilante is the DA. Yeah, unless that hint of him having a dark side was a red herring. Um, kind of hope it was a red herring. The Artemis reveal is actually pretty accurate because in Young Justice she kept a lot of secrets from the team, so they could be transferring that over to Arrow. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, Quentin has a secret that could endanger his friends, and he tells them. It just goes to show that Arrow has better writers than all three of the other DC CW shows combined. Yeah, pretty much. At least the characters act like they've got a brain most of the time. Really liking Wild Dog and Dig's relationship. Me too. I kind of like what they've got going on there. It's really helping to humanize Renee a lot, which is a plus. Because he was kind of annoying me for those first couple episodes. But ever since he got tortured, he's kind of he's been humbled a little bit, and he's been a lot more likable. And him hanging around with Dig is having a good influence on him. Let's see. They said there would be a betrayal. Didn't figure out it would be Artemis. Oliver knows better than to really trust Susan. It's nice to see, actually. Oliver knows better than to really trust Susan. It's nice to see, actually. Well, yeah, he knows what that Susan kind of screwed over Thea. Um, a couple episodes ago. So, if I were Oliver, I'd have my guard up around her. I'd be careful about what kind of information I give her. I'm not saying he should trust her completely, because obviously that's probably gonna blow up in his face sooner or later because she's investigating him now. But I'm not. I think they could still. It would be interesting if they kind of developed a relationship and she started to like him against her better judgment, even if that's not what she set out to do, and then she becomes conflicted about it, investigating him. That would be interesting. But yeah, I hope Oliver. I would hope that Oliver knows better than to trust her completely. I think he should know better. But we'll see. We don't know what they're gonna do with this yet. My guess is Thea becomes the new Black Canary before the mid-season finale. I do miss Thea being on the team. I hope she winds up back on the team eventually. Sooner than later would be nice. I guess that's not her character. I can't talk. That's not her character trajectory right now. But I do hope that at some point she winds up back on the team. I don't know why she wouldn't just go back to being Speedy, though. Laurel made Oliver promise that she wouldn't be the last Canary, so I guess eventually someone's going to become a new Black Canary. So maybe it will be Thea. Who knows? Thoughts on the new Inhuman TV show? I'm excited to see it. We don't really know anything about it. All we have is an announcement that it's being worked on. We don't know the showrunner. They don't have a cast yet. All we know is that it's going to debut on ABC next year, and it's going to be about Black Bolt and his family. So I guess we're finally going to see like the big Inhuman characters like Medusa and Maximus the Mad, and hopefully some of the new characters like ISO. I like ISO a lot. So that's cool. I'm excited for it. Hope they get it right. With Inhumans becoming a show that maybe Ghost Rider getting a spin-off on ABC, this could lead to S.H.I.E.L.D. getting canceled to make room. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think those shows, Inhumans becoming a show, Ghost Rider maybe getting a spin-off, I don't think it would have, it would cause them to cancel S.H.I.E.L.D. I think S.H.I.E.L.D. will get renewed or canceled on its own merits. It wouldn't have anything to do with the, various other shows happening. I know the ratings aren't great. Honestly, I stopped following the ratings because I was just stressing out about them all the time. But I know it's not doing as well as I'd like it to. So I'm not really anticipating another season. But stranger things have happened, and Inhumans becoming a thing wouldn't necessarily cause them to cancel Shield. Although it would be really frustrating if they finally find a great companion piece for Shield and then the show gets canceled before the show premieres. Oh, that'd be fucked up. Let's see. Thoughts on the entire card of UFC 205. Well, I didn't watch the entire card. Um, I caught the last couple of fights. Disappointed that I missed Misha Tate because I really like her, and I'm kind of bummed out that she retired. So the main event, Jesus Christ, Conor McGregor, holy shit. Uh, Humility, thy name is Conor. I loved his little speech at the end. I've been a dick to a lot of people backstage. I just want to say that I apologize for absolutely none of it. Fuck everybody. I'm awesome. He's such a dick. But that's what people love him for, you know? Uh, yeah, but really impressive performance from Connor there. I don't see how anybody can stop this guy right now. Let's see. What do you think about the news that Marvel and Fox made a rights trade so Negasonic Teenage Warhead could be in Deadpool and Ego the Living Planet could be in Guardians Volume 2? Uh, I don't see. I'm questioning why they had to make a trade for that because Negasonic would fall under the X-Men canon, which Fox already had the rights to. So I'm not sure why they'd have to make a deal to use that character, especially when it's a really minor character that didn't really bear any resemblance to the version in the comics. Um, I guess Ego the Living Planet would be like a Fantastic Four thing. So I could see Marvel having to jump through some hoops to use that. Um, I'm interested to see what they do with Ego the Living Planet. Uh, Beyond that, not much to say, I guess. Thoughts on Ego being Star Lord's father in Guardians Volume 2 and how in the hell you explain that? I have no idea. I guess that finally puts the nail in the coffin of the theory that Maveth was actually Ego in Shield last season because there were definitely some hints that it could be if you looked for them. Um, but yeah, Star Lord's dad is a planet. That's a twist. Kurt Russell is going to play a sentient planet. That's really out there now. Um, I'm really curious to see how they pull that off. Are they gonna or are they gonna CG the fuck out of it, or is Kurt Russell gonna play like that like an avatar for the planet or something? I don't know. I'm really excited to see what they do with that though. Did you already do the Impact live stream? How would I have done that? The show ended an hour ago. No, the Impact stream will be on Saturday or Sunday like it always is. Let's see. Since Daisy is an Inhuman, could we see a crossover with the Inhumans TV show? I would like that very much. I don't see why not. I'd be really excited for it. It would be an easy and logical way to cross over the two shows. So if Shield is still around when Inhumans drops, I think that'd be a great idea. I think we could absolutely see that. Hate to ask this, but your thoughts on Vader's condition? Uh, I haven't heard a lot about this. I know he's got health problems. It's really unfortunate, you know. Um, Vader wasn't a guy that I ever watched as a little kid. When he was around, so I was never really on the Vader bandwagon, just because I didn't have much exposure to the guy. But I don't like seeing people get sick. I don't like people having to deal with problems like that. That sucks. It's really unfortunate. Do you think ratings dictate why people enjoy, so they won't feel left out, or am I wrong? Um, Ratings dictate what people enjoy. Maybe there are some people who just like jumping on a bandwagon and only like watch something because it's really popular. There are other people who don't like jumping on a bandwagon and refuse to watch shows because they are popular. So there's people on both sides of the fence there. Um, I don't think they're the majority though. I think they're just kind of oddballs in that regard. The thoughts on the Birds of Prey being the villains in the Harley Quinn movie? Is that confirmed? Oh, that's I don't know. I don't like that. Birds of Prey being the villains in a Harley. How about you give the Birds of Prey their own fucking movie and have them be the heroes of it? What the fuck? That sounds like a really stupid idea. The second to last fight went to a majority draw. Is that rare in the UFC? Well, that's I believe that's the first majority draw I've seen in the time that I've been watching the UFC. So no, I'd say that's pretty rare. Um, who would you? Oh shit. Who would you rather manage, Becky, Rosemary, Taylor, or Allie? Hmm. Well, Rosemary hardly needs anyone to manage her. Um, Becky, kind of the same thing. Uh, Taylor, oh wow. Taylor would just be so much fun to look at in person. Wow. Of course, she'd probably get creeped out because I'd be staring at her the whole time. Um, I think Allie, because Allie could use some encouragement, like a manager to kind of push her in the right direction, like stand up to Maria and all that stuff. Yeah, I think Allie probably. Joanna versus Carolina was a great match. Carolina's quite the looker. Yeah, I didn't tune in time to see that one, unfortunately. Would you ever want to manage Conor McGregor if he asked you to? Well, he wouldn't ask me to. Um, he's another guy that wouldn't need a manager. I guess. Um, I'd walk out to the cage with him just to say I did it. If he asked me to do it, sure I'd do it, but he wouldn't ask me. Have you seen Final Fantasy Kingsglaive yet? If so, your thoughts. To my knowledge, they only have made 6 Final Fantasy movies so far. I have seen Kingsglaive. I have the DVD right over here. I saw it. That is one batshit crazy movie. I was a little confused about a lot of things that were going on. They had a lot of weird stuff happen that had me scratching my head, like, well, where did the fucking kaiju come from? Where? But the animation is fantastic. Voice acting's really good. I like the story. It's really well made, even if I wasn't entirely sure what was going on a lot of the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend it if you're a Final Fantasy fan. I haven't played a lot of the recent games, but I have a great fondness for 7 and 10. Um, I was really hooked on 7 back in the day, and 10's one of my favorite games. I played that all the way through several times. So I started playing 13, and I just lost interest in it pretty quickly. Haven't really played the recent ones, like I said, but I enjoyed Kingsglaive. I saw a trailer for it. It looked really cool. Saw Angry Joe's review of it. Decided found it in the at a Best Buy for like $15, so I figured I'd check it out. I enjoyed it. I would recommend check it out. It's like I said, it's a batshit crazy movie, and I didn't know what was happening a lot of the time, but it's still really cool. Um, let's see. Which show, in your opinion, deserves higher ratings? Of all the comic shows, um, I would say Shield deserves higher ratings, just because I think that's the most well written show. Um, Arrow, it's not a badly written show, but I think it's definitely been hit and miss since season two. I think it's still I enjoy Arrow more often than not though. But Flash, I just think from a writing perspective, Flash is a complete fucking mess a lot of the time. I have no idea why so much praise gets heaped on that show because that show has so many problems. And I've said this before, but if I wasn't reviewing the Flash for this show, I wouldn't even be watching for or this live stream. I wouldn't even be watching it anymore. I would have quit a while ago. I think the writing is just atrocious and sloppy, and you can poke holes in it all day long. I think from a writing perspective, Shield is very good, and has been since the second half of season one, basically. So I think Shield is like kind of underappreciated in that regard, and a lot of people kind of criticize it and don't give it a fair shake anymore, and that's a shame because it deserves more viewers than it gets. I think Birds of Prey are the heroes, and it's just going to be from Harley's point of view. All right. All right, that makes more sense. I still think the Birds of Prey ought to be in their own movie. Favorite so bad it's good movie. I don't know if I really have one. It's so bad it's good movie. So bad it's good. That's a good question. I'm sure. I'm sure I have one. It's just not. I don't have one that springs to mind right now. I don't know. I'll think about that. I could probably name you something. I know one movie that I love that I, I felt like I was the only person in America that actually watched it. Was Death to Smoochie. Yeah, that was Ed Norton and Robin Williams. This was a long time ago now, but I think that movie's hilarious. Apparently, I'm like nobody saw it. I thought it was really good though. So I don't consider that a so bad it's good movie. Those you know didn't do well unfortunately. Let's see. What do you think of Ghost in the Shell, whitewashing, or not Scarlet looks the part? What do you think of Ghost in the Shell? Whitewashing or not? Scarlet looks the part to me. Well, it was whitewashing because the major is supposed to be Japanese. I guess the whole cast is supposed to be Japanese, but look, the unfortunate reality is that the studio wasn't going to make the movie with a Japanese lead. All right, they just weren't. Because female-led action movies are kind of a hard sell in general. So obviously the only way the studio was going to make it was if they had a bankable star in the title role. So Scarlett has been in a bunch of really successful action movies. So she was probably the logical choice from the studio's perspective. I guess there are ways they can explain it. It is awkward as hell that her name is still Motoko Kusanagi in the movie, and she's played by a white chick. There are ways they can explain it. Like they can say that she was born an Asian person, but this is just the model of cyborg, that body that they gave her. Like maybe she's gone through a couple different models, and this is just the one she's using now, and it just happens to be a cyborg body that looks like a white person. I would hope there's an explanation for it. Uh, it is unfortunate that they couldn't go with an Asian actress. But honestly, I'm just happy the movie's getting made. And we're actually going to have a Ghost in the Shell movie, because I love the Ghost in the Shell property. I have all the movies. I got the anime, um, Standalone Complex, Solid State Society. I even have the manga back there. So I really love Ghost in the Shell, the Ghost in the Shell license. And I'm excited to see the movie, even if yeah, there is some whitewashing going on. The trailer looked really interesting. I want to see more. Bateau looks kind of silly. Not sold on that. And I was confused about a couple of things. Like there was definitely an effort made to emulate scenes from the original movie. But like in the opening, when she takes off the coat and she's got no clothes on, but it's like the thermoptics thing, and she jumps off the building. It's like the opening scene from the movie. But in the movie, she did that so she could use the thermoptics to turn invisible. But here, she's not turning invisible. So why is she doing it? It's just it comes off like fan service. But yeah, they got a lot of scenes from like right out of the anime, so I like that. Um, Scarlet does kind of look like the Major, except that she's not Asian. So as I so who knows? I want to see more. This is just a teaser. Everything looks really pretty, so that's good. But I want to see like more story right now. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not overlooking the whitewashing issue, but it's not something that's going to ruin the movie for me. Although other people will probably give you a different answer. Let's. Thoughts on Justice League Dark? All I've seen. Is there anything besides the first trailer? I think it's cool that they got Matt Ryan to voice Constantine. Beyond that, I don't really know. It looks cool. Of course, the DC animated movies tend to be really good. Um, I'll probably watch it when I get a chance. Not sure when it comes out. I don't really have a lot of opinions on it right now, though. Favorite fast food place? Does Subway count? I don't eat a lot of fast food. I normally try to eat healthy stuff. Arby's, maybe? Arby's is really good. Did you like the ending of the recent Raw? To be honest, I didn't watch it. I gave up at about 10 o'clock. I just turned the show off because I was just bored out of my mind. So I'd like to answer your question, but I didn't watch the last hour. All right. And nothing else really here that I need to answer, I think. All right, here we go. Seems like everyone's leaving TNA. First Corgan left, and now Maria. If Mike Bennett leaves too soon, I'll flip a table over. I don't think we need to worry about Mike Bennett leaving. You know, Maria's leaving because she's going to college and she's going for her master's degree. Uh, so I guess wrestling is not what she wants to do with the rest of her life. But for Mike Bennett, you know, this is his job, I guess. I don't think we need to worry about Mike Bennett leaving. So I guess that's about it. I had to, I blame the anime drawers that always seem to give the Asian characters white woman looks. Well, even so, I mean, they're obviously intended to be Asian, you know. Maybe it's yeah. I mean, they're intended to be Asian characters. They might look white, but I think that's just an anime. That's just like an animation thing. I mean, you can tell when they're supposed to be Asian, though. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Thanks everybody for joining me. I had to get up at like 6:30 in the morning today, so I'm kind of beat. So I'm gonna make myself some dinner and then crash. Impact stream should be on Saturday this week. Well, once again, if I have to change days, there will be a notice on Twitter about it. So follow me on Twitter for updates. Thanks everybody for tuning in once again, and I will talk to you in a few days. Also, I did another appearance on the Heelcast. It's the most recent episode. You can watch it at tnasylum.net or follow them on YouTube. Just do a search for TN Asylum Heelcast, and it comes right up. Fortunately, there were some technical problems this week, but it's still a show that we cover a lot of stuff. And go listen to it because I'm on there, and you should listen to it in general, even when I'm not on there, because it's a good show. So check that out, and I will talk to you guys on Saturday, most likely. All right, take care. I'll talk to you then later.